Hi everyone, I just wanted to give you some updates about some assignments that are coming up. I have the course outline from Blackboard called up in front of you on the screen now. We are getting ready to start week 14 of our semester. We will not be meeting for a class time this Thursday, but if you do need to meet with me for some reason, I can definitely schedule a one-on-one meeting with you. Just email me and I can set that up. One thing that you will need to start working on is your high scope daily planning form. This is something that was typically going to be done as a group in class, but since we are not on campus anymore, this will be something that you will complete independently and then submit. I'm going to go through some directions on completing that here in just a minute, but I wanted to point out a couple of other dates as well. If you wanted to look at the due date for that high scope planning form, that will be on Thursday, May the 7th. And then I have pushed back the due date for your final draft of your small group activity plan to May 14th. So it was originally due on May 7th, but I went ahead and pushed it back to the 14th. So you have an extra week to complete that as well. So don't forget that that rough draft is due this Thursday on the 23rd, and then I'll look through that rough draft. I will give you comments and feedback on your rough draft for any changes that you may need to make or other things that you need to consider or add, and then you can update that rough draft, and then the final draft will be due on May the 14th. So let's go ahead and look at where the information is for your high scope daily planning form. So if you click down into week 14, I have put two links here. One is the daily planning form with tips, which we're going to go over, and one is the blank copy. So you can actually edit either of these forms. So you can just open them up, put in your own information, save them under your own document name, and then you will submit that for the assignment. But let's go ahead and click into the one with the tips and look at that. Okay, so what the daily planning form is it just goes through a day in the life of a high scope classroom. So basically it is your plan that you would use and refer to for one day, one school day. So we would start with greeting time, and then we would just work through the different components of the day. So what you're going to do is you're going to plan the different activities, the different transitions that you will be putting in each part of the day. So the first part that you're going to plan is greeting time. So again, greeting time in high scope is not necessarily a circle time. So if you're used to having a daily circle time where you sit, you read a story, you do the weather, you do the calendar, you sing a song, you read a book, all that kind of stuff, that's not what greeting time is in high scope. So if you want to remember what greeting time is, if you're forgetting, then go back to your textbook, look through the information that we talked about at the very beginning of the semester about greeting time. Greeting time is a short time in the high scope classroom. You can do a couple of things just to kind of touch base if you wanted to do some sort of an appropriate calendar. If you had a sign-in thing that you did when the students all came in to see who was here. If you sing a welcome song, that's fine, but it's not a big 20-minute thing like a typical circle time is. It's a gather the kids together, welcome them for the day, and then within that greeting time is whenever you go onto the message board and review the types of things that will be happening in the classroom today as well. So again, talk about what you're going to be doing during greeting time. Again, you don't need to plan a lot of things because there doesn't need to be a lot of things. It's basically just we touch base as a group, we talk about what's going to happen for the day, and then you go ahead and transition them on to the next part of their day. Also, what are you going to put on your message board? So again, it's going to be a fictional message board, so what messages are you going to put on the message board? Again, if you're forgetting what the message board is and the types of messages that are communicated on the message board, go back to your textbook, go back to the course modules, look at those videos, look at the information to, again, refresh your memory on what the message board entails. The next part of the day that you're going to do is planning time. So again, Typically, you're going to be in a classroom with about 20 children, since this is a preschool classroom. So for the planning time, it's going to be in 2 smaller groups, and so typically there's going to be 2 separate planning times. So one teacher can plan one planning time, and the other teacher will plan the other planning time. So again, just for the sake of getting yourself in the mindset of planning 2 separate planning times, because as teachers, you would probably plan together what your planning times may be, and then each of you may want to plan something different, but then you will share those planning times and understand what each will be doing. So you're going to go ahead and plan 2 different planning times. Put the title of your planning time in there, if it's planning with classroom map or planning with microphone or whatever it might be. So just insert a little title there for what it's going to be called. Also list a learning standard. So again, if you're doing something in that planning time that's going to assess some form of their development, that puts something in there. It might be a communication goal. It might be something about taking turns. It might be something about, again, being able to plan their day and then communicate those intentions. So go back to the Illinois Early Learning Standards and look at those. I would recommend looking in the language and literacy section for standards for your planning time, or I would look in the social emotional development section, and those are going to probably find some really key standards that you're going to want to assess through their ability to plan the activities that they want to do during work time. So if you have further questions about linking a standard to the planning time or linking a standard to the recall time, then let me know and I can definitely clarify that as well. In addition to listing the standard, you're going to briefly describe what you'll be doing in that planning time. So again, if you're planning with a microphone, then just briefly talk about what the children will be doing as they plan using the microphone. So that's what you're going to put here. And then again, you're going to do the same thing for here. So you'll have 2 separate planning times. Again, when we talked about Plan, Do, and Review, I listed that link on the course module that had like over 100 ideas that you could use for planning and recall time. So again, if you're stumped for an idea on your own, go find that resource in the Blackboard course site and use one of those. Okay, the next part of the day is going to be work time, because of course in the Plan, Do, Review sequence, we always plan, then we go to work time, we clean up, and then we recall. So again, during work time, again, you don't need to plan things, because again, it's free play. Kids are doing exactly what they want to do in the centers that you have prepared for them in their environment. It's nothing separate. You don't need to add anything else. But during work time, what will you be doing? So again, for example, what types of things will you be observing? How will you be engaging with the students? What kinds of conversations will you have? Will you be documenting work? So again, during work time, you're just going to indicate what you're going to be doing. You're not going to be planning another activity or running another activity, but you're going to be facilitating and supporting those children as they're working. Next after work time is cleanup time and transition to recall. So during this cleanup time, think of a specific activity that you could use for them during cleanup time and then put that in there. And then after that, you're going to list a strategy that you're going to use to transition from cleanup time to recall time. So then how will you have them transition from cleanup to recall? Will you have them march to the beat of a drum from cleanup time to recall time? You know, what are you going to have them do? Do you have a specific song they're going to sing? So again, how will they do that? So think of some transition activity that they will use. At recall time, it's going to be the same type of expectation as from planning time. So again, you're going to insert the title of how you're going to recall, a standard that you'll assess as they're recalling, and then briefly describe the activity that you'll be doing for recall. You're going to have 1, 2 recall time activities, just like you had for planning time. The next part of the day is snack time. Again, it's a fictional day, so just put in there what you would do for your snack, what type of snack there will be, and then anything else that you might do during snack time. Large group time is going to be the next time of the day. You're going to put the title of the activity, for example, going on a bear hunt. Standards that you're going to be assessing during this large group time. So again, it could be anything. It could be a math standard. It could be a social emotional standard. It could be a physical development standard. It could be a literacy thing. Figure out what you're going to assess through that specific activity and make sure you link the standard to the activity. And then briefly describe what's going to happen. And then after that, how will the children transition from large group time to the next part of the day? For example, crawl like a bear to your small group tables. Once they're in small group time, this is going to be the easiest part of your planning because you already actually have something to plug in here. So the small group activity that you're planning for this class, just plug that information in here, and that's what you're going to put. And then the final part of the day is outside time. Again, you don't necessarily have to plan anything specific. If you want to plan a specific game or if you want to plan something, additional supplemental activities that the children would do in addition to just playing outside on the playground, or if you just want to plan a specific activity, maybe you want to go on a nature walk that day. Whatever you want to do, you're going to indicate what's going to happen during outside time. And then again, if you're going outside and you need to bring any specific materials for what you've planned, then list that as well. So this takes you through an entire day. So again, this would be a plan that you would reference, again, on a daily basis to kind of keep you on track for what you're going to be doing in each part of the day. This is the form that they're actually using in the lab school at Harper. The student teachers have to actually use this planning form to plan their day-to-day. So this is a great time for you guys to get some experience using this form and to be able to look at an entire day and to plan that out and see what it would look like, and make sure you're doing that in a developmentally appropriate way using the framework of a high scope classroom. So again, if you have any questions about any part of this daily plan, please let me know. Again, this was intended for us to do in the classroom, being able to talk and work on this a couple days in class and being able to do this face-to-face, so it would have been much easier, but I have complete confidence in your ability to do this. You guys have been able to show me that you are grasping concepts very well in this course, and so I am very confident that you will be very successful in completing this daily planning form. But if you have questions, please let me know, and we can definitely talk more about it. So that's all I have for now. This again is due on Thursday, May the 7th, and I will look forward to seeing these all completed.